Hi there, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to the broadcast. Thank you for your wonderful company. My name is Cynthia Nanjala. I'm wondering, am I in a different time zone or something? But we are glad that you've made time for us tonight. Let's take a look at stories making headlines this day. Four opposition leaders, 5 former cabinet secretaries. President William Ruto nominates 10 new CSs ahead of vetting by Parliament. Government pledges war on graft as the head of state, President William Ruto, announces 7 new measures to eradicate the vice. Journalists unite to call for respect in the line of duty, condemning police brutality and threats to media freedom. Good evening, thank you for joining us. Now, our top story. In a move to create a broad-based administration, President William Ruto has included members of the opposition in his government, appointing key figures from the Orange Democratic Movement ODM party to the cabinet. The head of state has nominated ODM chairperson John Mbadi as the new Treasury Cabinet Secretary, as well as appointed Minority Leader Opiyo Wandayi as the Energy Cabinet Secretary now. Hassan Joho has been nominated to the Mining and Blue Economy and Maritime Affairs. That is the former county governor for Mombasa. John Mbadi, as I mentioned earlier, was also a member of parliament, has been nominated to the National Treasury and Fiscal Planning, and he will take over after CS Professor Njuguna Ndung'u, the former CS. Rebecca Miano, who had been previously nominated to the position of Attorney General, has been nominated to the Tourism and Wildlife docket. Kipchumba Murkomen, previously of Roads Ministry, has been nominated to the Youth Affairs and Sports Ministry. Dr. Alfred Mutua, previously from the Tourism docket, has been nominated to Labour and Social Protection Ministry. We also do have Justin Muturi, the former Attorney General, who's been nominated to the docket that is of Public Service, Performance and Delivery Management. Dr. Wycliffe Ambetsa Oparanya has been nominated to the Cooperatives and Micro, Small, Medium Enterprises docket. He is the former Kakamega County Governor. We also have the Minority Leader Opiyo Wandayi of the National Assembly has been nominated to the Energy and Petroleum docket. He will be taking over after the former CS Davis Chichi. Salim Mvurya has been transferred back to Cabinet, and he will be joining the Investments and Trade docket if approved by the National Assembly. Now, Stella Soi Chelangat has been nominated to the Gender and Culture Ministry, and she will be taking over after this former CS Aisha Jumwa. Nominations, of course, follow weeks of anti-government protest of Gen Z youths who have been demanding government reforms due to rampant corruption and resource management. And as I mentioned a bit earlier on, 4 persons from the opposition have been nominated to that particular cabinet pending approval by the National Assembly after undergoing the due procedure of cabinet vetting. Now let's take a look at some of the reactions that have come in from various leaders, including Martha Karua, who tweeted and says, "Let every person stand by the courage of their convictions, Aluta continua." That was the message from Martha Karua, who's the senior counsel, as well as Azimio co-principal, who has been at the center of, as well as dissenting her voice on the government talks. We also have Gathoniwa Mushomba, who's the member of parliament of UDA party, who says, "In the face of betrayal, we have power to rise above and become stronger than before." That is Honorable Gathoniwa Mushomba. Now to Honorable Jeremiah Kioni, who's the Jubilee Secretary General, who says it's always darkest before the dawn. Question is it a dark time now? And when will the dawn come? And then finally, James Orengo, the Senior Counsel, as well as Siaya County Governor, and a close ally of ODM leader Raila Odinga, says principle is indivisible. It is either wholly kept or wholly sacrificed. So who has sacrificed their principle in accordance to that tweet? So those are some of the leaders and the reactions following those cabinet nominations. Now, President William Ruto has commended leaders from various political divide for giving up on their partisan positions and joining government to make Kenya a better country. Just before naming his cabinet members, the head of state in 3 minutes supported his decision to include leaders from the opposing, supporting what he calls a broad-based government.
I commend the leadership of diverse organizations, both in public and private sectors, including political parties, for their encouraging response to my outreach to consult on forming a broad-based government. Their willingness to set aside partisan positions and interests in order to join a visionary partnership for the radical transformation of Kenya is a historic gesture of their patriotism. I know and I understand acutely the huge expectation of the people of Kenya on me and this administration. And I equally understand that that responsibility can be made easier if we work together as a nation.
At the same time, the head of state has announced 7 measures that his administration will take to combat corruption, which has proven difficult to eradicate in previous administrations. President William Ruto explained during a press briefing at State House on Wednesday that the measures were in response to public demands for greater accountability and transparency from the government. He stated that he would propose amendments to the Evidence Act and Criminal Procedure Code, as well as other necessary changes to expedite and prosecute corruption cases within 6 months.
I will be proposing amendments to the Evidence Act and the Criminal Procedure Code, among other necessary legislative amendments to all statutes relating to corruption, to expedite investigations and prosecution of corruption and economic crimes cases, and provide for their conclusion within 6 months. We shall also be proposing amendments to the Witness Protection Act to overhaul the statutory and institutional framework to protect and incentivize whistleblowers and enhance witness protection, making it easier and safer for citizens to come forward and report corruption as well as other criminal activities. Number 3, within 90 days, we shall propose amendments to the Public Finance Management Act and Public Procurement and Disposal Acts to overhaul the institutional and operational framework of public procurement, which has been identified as the epicenter of corruption, conflict of interest, and abuses of office in the public sector, with a view to deploying digital infrastructure within the next 6 months. The aim of this measure is to provide an open and transparent public procurement platform which gives open, real-time, and end-to-end public visibility of public procurement from advertisement to award of contract, and to whom it is awarded, and what amount the people of Kenya will pay.
Now, President William Ruto has yielded to the demands by the opposition and the Gen Zs to have all those arrested during the anti-government protest released and have all charges pressed against them dropped. Speaking during the press briefing, the head of state also instructed the National Police Service to exercise its powers responsibly in accordance with the Constitution. This comes following widespread allegations of police brutality and other forms of intimidation against demonstrators, which sparked public condemnation from Kenyans.
Unfortunately, there has been many instances of excessive, unlawful, dangerous, and harmful conduct during the demonstrations and engagements, as a consequence of which Many persons have been arrested and charged in courts with various offenses. I urge the criminal justice agencies to take effective measures and ensure that people who may have been innocently caught up on the wrong side of things and those not implicated in crimes be released and charges against them withdrawn.
All right, so of course various reactions continue to come in following those particular nominations, widely expected, as had been, written in a couple of newspapers across the weekend as well as just this week at the start of the week, which had alluded to the fact that the opposition had been given cabinet slots. And boy, oh boy, the internet is on fire tonight, and we can only wait to see how things develop. Even as still one more step, they're not cabinet secretaries just yet, one more step, that is the vetting by the National Assembly, who now hold that particular power to either reject or approve the CS nominees. Now to other news making headlines tonight, journalists from across various media outlets, including TV, radio and print, demonstrated against the suppression of media freedom and the brutality meted upon journalists by police officers while covering protests across the country. Article 34 of the Constitution guarantees media freedom and independence of electronic, print, and all other types of media, barring the state from controlling or interfering with any person engaged in broadcasting. This comes on the backdrop of threats made to journalists, the mistaken kidnapping of veteran journalist Macharia Gaido, the shooting of Kameme TV journalist Catherine Wanjeri, and the threat to shut down a section of the media outlets, including KTN News. The petition has been submitted to the police officers.
Nyingi sana zinakandamiza wanahabari, lakini Ministry of ICT ni kama haioni. Tunataka mabadiliko yafanyike katika sheria kama vile kika, kwa sababu hatutaki censorship ya media kila wakati. Kwamba tutawazima mkiangazia taarifa fulani, tutafanya kitu fulani mkifanya kitu fulani. Tuna haki kwa mujibu wa sheria. Article 34 A and B, media inastahili kufanya kazi yake bila mwingilio wote wa serikali. Lakini iweje kwamba kila siku tuna wasiwasi? Ministry of ICT, kule mitandaoni tunatishwa. Mko wapi? Namba zetu zinachapishwa kila siku. Mko wapi? Wanahabari wanatusiwa. Mko wapi? Wanahabari wanapigwa risasi. Mko wapi? Wanahabari wanakidnapiwa. Mko wapi? Mbona mnafanya nini kwa hii ofisi ambayo inalipwa na mtozo wa ushuru?
Received your petition and I will ensure that it gets to him. So thank you very much.
And please, after receiving, isiende ikawekwa kwa share. We need action. We need action. We need action. Ama tutarudi Kenya tena kesho. Kwa sababu Wakenya wana haki ya kuandamana. Sisi tutaandamana tu. Kwa sababu tunataka haki. Nyinyi ndio mnafaa kuwa mnatulinda kama wanahabari. We should feel safe tukiwa na Ministry of ICT. Lakini sasa hivi hatujui kama hata tuko na wizara ya ICT.
Tuko hapa leo kuonyesha mshangao wetu kwa sababu tumelengwa na watu fulani na makundi fulani ambayo si hayakubaliki, na pia wakati mwingine na maafisa wa polisi tunapotekeleza wajibu wetu wa kuhakikisha kwamba tumeweka serikali pamoja na jumuiya ama jamii ili kuwajibika katika mambo yao.
Swala ambalo linatusikitikisha kama sisi vijana ambao tumeingia katika hii wanahabari ni kwamba tunapata wakati mgumu kupata habari. Unapoenda kwa ofisi unaambiwa kwamba hauruhusiwi kupewa hiyo ujumbe. Hiyo ndio sababu tumejitokeza siku ya leo kwa kulaani vitendo kama hivyo. Kitu kingine ambacho tunalaani ni kwamba vituo vya wanahabari vimekuwa na wakati mgumu, hasa wakati tunapotangaza. Tunapotangaza tunakuwa na wakati mgumu kwa sababu hata wakati wa maandamano tumeona kwamba vituo vya wanahabari vimeweza kutishiwa kwamba siziweze kutangaza ama kuonyesha moja kwa moja jinsi maandamano yanavyoendelea. Hiyo ni baadhi ya maneno ambayo yametutokeza, na tunaomba kwamba serikali na wana polisi waweze kuheshimu wanahabari.
Kile ambacho tumesema, wenzangu washasema, ni kwamba tunahitaji serikali na wale wahuni ambao wanaingililia uhuru wa wanahabari waweze kufundishwa vile vipengee ambavyo viko katika katiba ya Kenya na vile vipengee ambavyo viko katika zile sekta za wanahabari, Kenya Union of Journalists, Media Council of Kenya and all the parties waweze kuhakikisha kwamba tumewekewa ulinzi wa kutosha.
And right, just to reiterate what fellow colleagues have said, media freedom needs to be enhanced because, you know, press freedom is not just important to democracy. It is democracy. We're here to serve the governed, not the governors. Now, the National Federation of Public Benefits Organizations, PBOs, have called on all civil and non-profit organizations to maintain accountability and transparency in the initiatives to drive for peace and stability amidst the ongoing countrywide protests. According to PBO Chairperson Stephen Cheboy, all organizations engaged in public benefit work in the country must be registered before operating officially to fight any corruption.
The PS for State Department for Foreign Affairs wrote a letter to one of the donors supporting our organizations, and in the letter he sought to have the organization shed light on some of the funding opportunities or funding that has been extending to our NGOs. That is not too much. That is not to say that people should not keep information. Information is good. So that's why we are asking our NGOs, there is no harm that we keep being open at all times. Let us maintain openness.
Instead of the PBO regulatory authority setting up infrastructure and mechanisms to operationalize the PBO Act, what they are doing is that now they are meddling in the affairs of certain PBOs, hiding under the issue of the Gen Zs. What they should do is to provide evidence, because they have the agencies that have the capacity to do investigation, and if there is any violation, they can present the cases to court.
Wangekuwa wanasikiza wananchi, haya maneno ya Gen Z hayangetokea. Lakini kwa sababu walipuuza, walikuwa wanafanya kwa sababu iko kwa sheria ndio tusiulizwe, but wakakosa kuheshimu maoni ya wananchi.
President William Ruto has said officers of the Kenya Police Service and those in the prison service will receive their first salary increase installment this month. The president said the government is keen on honoring its commitment to improve the welfare of security officers. He spoke during the swearing-in ceremony of Mr. Patrick Mwiti Arandu as the Commissioner General of Prisons at State House in Nairobi. President William Ruto expressed confidence in Arandu's ability to lead the planned transformation of the prison service.
I, Patrick Mwiti Arandu, do swear that I will well and truly serve the Republic of Kenya in the office of the Commissioner General of Prisons of the Kenya Prison Service, and that I will do justice in accordance with this Constitution of Kenya as by law established, and in accordance with the laws and customs of the Republic, without fear or favor, affection or ill will. So help me God. Thank you.
Congratulations to you, Commissioner General Mwiti, for this very well-deserved appointment as Commissioner General in a career that has seen you put many years behind the prison service. I am persuaded and confident that the responsibilities that have been assigned to you as Commissioner General by virtue of this appointment are merited, and the prison service is looking forward to your leadership as you lead the prisons team in making sure that our correctional services are managed appropriately in the best interests of the country. And the reform process that is going on at the prisons will be undertaken under your watch and stewardship. And I want to pledge and commit my support and that of the entire government to you and the prison service as you undertake the great transformation that we want of the prisons service.
The National Assembly Committee of Public Debt and Privatization has been updated on the stock of public and publicly guaranteed debt. In a meeting with Dr. Chris Kiptoo, the National Treasury Principal Secretary, the committee chaired by Balambala Member of Parliament Honorable Abdi Shurie had that as of 30th June 2024, public and public guaranteed debt stood at 10.56 billion shillings, which translates to 65.5% of the gross domestic product. Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi has also reiterated that commercial debts are also sinking the country's economy.
The one thing I want to make clear to all Kenyans, and I know parliamentarians know this, whichever way we go, we will have to pay our external debt. It will not be written off. So our Kenyans, it may appear sometimes to give simplistic solutions, but there are no simplistic solutions. We will have to settle our debt. That is what makes a nation. It's been committed, it's a sovereign debt, it has been made by others who are there. Our forefathers made commitments. What is biting us, and you all know, is more of the commercial debt. The expensive debt in our portfolio is what is hitting us very hard. It's not the concessionary funds. The concessionary funds, as you know, are from the World Bank, some of our bilateral members, the SDRs around the fund. These are largely concessionary funds. It's the commercial ones that are hitting us very hard.
Now, just 2 months after Madaraka Day celebrations were held in Bungoma, residents, activists and opinion leaders have poked holes into their 148 million shillings budget that was appropriated to cater for preparations. Despite the event being a national ceremony, the County Assembly of Bungoma appropriated the money to facilitate the executive in preparations since Bungoma was playing host. However, questions pertaining the usage of the money remain a riddle that many residents of Bungoma would like to have answered. On the 148 million shillings, 1 million was directed towards renovation of Desese College, which hosted military staff, works whose tenability is yet to be ascertained. A total of 18 million shillings was used to make billboards along Kandui Musikoma dual carriageway, while 13 million shillings was used for electricity bills for Madaraka time, among other expenditure. To Kilifi County, residents of Bamba, Ganze in Kilifi County are worried after groups of illegal herders allegedly invaded the controversial Giriama Ranch, hence fueling further conflicts over the land ownership. The more than 40,000 squatters living in the 66,000-acre ranch accused some former directors of Giriama Ranching Company and some private developers suspected to be salivating for the ranch of using illegal herders to grab the vast land from locals. The residents now demand for immediate evictions of illegal herders, mostly Somalis, from Garissa and Marsabit counties, causing mayhem in many parts of the area. The aggrieved villagers further blamed Rajab Menza, the former chairman of the Giriama Ranch, of being behind the invasion and illegal leasing of parts of the land to illegal herders for his selfish gains.
Shamba nimilipata kwa sababu makina mababu tuliokuwa nao wamekwenda, na hata sasa nimebaki ni kama mimi ndiyo mzee. Hiyo shamba mahindi iliyoliwa ni eka 17 zilizoliwa na ng'ombe za Yusufu. Yusufu akaniita ofisini kwa assistant chief wetu. Aliyekuja hapo ofisini akawa ni Rajabu Menza. Akasema, si huna ruhusa ya kulipo wewe, hata kila chobaki hapo wewe ulipe, lakini sio wewe ulipwe. Tukaona basi hapo hakuna shida, manake mkubwa sio mwenzako.
Unakuja hapa kama mvuvi unavua samaki ili uizo pate pato lako, unakuta chairman Rajabu Menza hataki. Alitoa oda kwa Wasomali, akawaambia Wasomali, ukiona Mgiriama yeyote anavua samaki hapa unamtoa ama unashtaki. Mgiriama yule yule anayevua samaki hapa huchukuliwa akapelekwa wapi? Polisi Bamba kwa OCS. akifika kule anahojiwa na anatoa pesa.
Mbali na hiyo, wanalisha, wanachukua ng'ombe, wanapeleka kwa mashamba ya Wagiriama hapo. Hapo unajua watu huvuna baada ya miaka 5 ndio wanapata chakula hapo. Na mbali ya hiyo, ndovu wamejaa hapa. Hata sasa hivi ndovu watakuja kunywa maji hapa. Then wakicomplain, wenyeji wakilalamika hapa kwamba ng'ombe zenu zinalisha mashamba yetu, yanaharibu mashamba yetu, huyo mwenye analalamika ndiye anachukuliwa na polisi, anawekwa ndani.
Now, beyond our borders, Vice President Kamala Harris riled up supporters in Wisconsin as she laid out her newly minted top-of-the-ticket priorities. She has had to hit the ground running with President Joe Biden's withdrawal from the presidential race and endorsing Harris coming less than 4 months away from the general elections. No challengers have emerged at this point, and a majority of delegates to the Democratic National Convention has endorsed Harris. A virtual roll call of delegates planned for early August will determine the party's nominee.
Told as of this morning that we have earned the support of enough delegates to secure the Democratic nomination. Also, make no mistake, this campaign is not just about us versus Donald Trump. This campaign is about who we fight for.
We need to support the next president of the United States. We don't have a choice.
Well, she might not be the president officially.
She better be.
We're going to do everything we can. Look at that line.
Yeah. I think she's standing on the right side of the issues. And I want to protect the democracy that we have in this country.
Now, to sports. Koyonzo Secondary School, who are the defending national and East African champions, continue to rock in the rugby sevens, beating their traditional opponents in the final, which has seen them meet for the 5th consecutive time. Koyonzo, who finished 3rd place in the county tournament, has come back with a hit and beat Vihiga 42-7. Both teams have already booked their ticket to participate in the national competition in Kisii in August. That is next month.
I tell you. Ndio amefanya tumeshinda. Sisi tumengangana ndio. Lakini game ya Vihiga imekuwa rahisi. Juu ya training yetu tumetrain na tulikuwa tunaimba hii kitu. Na pia tulikuwa tunaomba Mungu atusaidie. Maana ukienda mahali ukijihami lazima uombe Mungu. Then player pia walikuwa wanaidai. Kila mtu alikuwa anataka. Ndio maana tumeshinda. Imekuwa rahisi kwetu, kila mtu alikuwa anataka kutoka kwa roho yake, kwa moyo yake. Then kila mtu alikuwa anasema for the badge.
Tunaenda kuendelea kujiandaa kwa mashindano ya kitaifa na tuna matumaini ya kwamba tutaweza kuhifadhi kombe letu katika kiwango cha kitaifa.
Ushindi wa leo tumeufurahia sana. Vijana wamecheza kulingana na vile walifundishwa na coaches. Kwa hivyo kama shule Koyonzo Boys High School, hiki kikombe ni chetu. Tumekuja tu kuchukua what belongs to us.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, that is where we wrap our broadcast tonight. Thank you very much for your wonderful company. I was sitting in for Consolata Chibalonza tonight. But be sure to join me yet again tomorrow, same time, same place on EBN Prime Edition. Have yourself a wonderful night. Good night. God bless.